Another major silly season domino has officially fallen as Chandler Smith is confirmed to not be returning to Kaulig Racing in 2024. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel and welcome back to the video. As I just said a second ago, Kaulig Racing has officially announced this morning that Chandler Smith will not return to Kaulig Racing in 2024. They released a statement this morning saying that Kaulig Racing to part ways with Chandler Smith in 2024. Kaulig Racing announced today that Chandler Smith will not return to the organization's NASCAR Xfinity Series NSX program next season. Smith, who is 7th in the series playoff standings, has earned 1 win, 3 pole awards, 8 top 5s, and 12 top 10s this season. The November 4th event at Phoenix Raceway will serve as Smith's last final race with Kaulig Racing. The 2024 driver lineup will be announced in the coming weeks. We'll talk about the 2024 Kaulig Racing lineup for Xfinity and Cup here in just a little bit. But first, why is this happening? Well, we talked about it on Friday, but it's expected to be announced sometime in the coming days. It might be coming as early as tomorrow that Chandler Smith is going to sign with Joe Gibbs Racing in 2024. What's really interesting about this is he had a 3-year contract with Kaulig Racing. But like I said, it was reported over the last couple weeks that he is expected to buy out his contract from Kaulig Racing and head over to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2024. Why? Well, I think it's for a better career at this point. And it's no secret that Kaulig Racing is in a little bit of a difficult position at this particular moment right now. So I think Chandler Smith, when he went to Kaulig Racing originally, I think a lot of people thought, was he going to get a Joe Gibbs Racing ride at time? Well, I think what probably happened originally was that he was probably going to get a Sam Hunt Racing ride, and right at the time, Kaulig Racing was a better team than Sam Hunt Racing. Going back to Joe Gibbs Racing next year, Chandler Smith, I think, is going to have a pretty good year. And he still had a good year with Kaulig Racing, got that win earlier in the year at Richmond Race. So he's got 8 top 5s and 12 top 10s. That's some pretty solid statistics, all things considered. And with him likely headed over to Joe Gibbs Racing, what are the expectations going to be for Chandler Smith going into 2024? Well, I think Chandler Smith is going to have some pretty high expectations. He's going to be expected to be a championship threat and contender because Chandler Smith is obviously a very, very talented driver and can do a really good job. I think the goal next year for Chandler Smith going into 2024, he needs to win around 5 or 6 races next year. He needs to win about as many races John Hunter did, because if he wants to go Cup racing potentially in 2025, perhaps, because I think there's a good chance, a possibility that Mark Truex Jr. is going to retire at the end of the 2024 season. I would not be shocked or surprised if he would take over for the 19 car or the 18 car, whatever it is, and then maybe, or we see John Hunter go to the 19 car, and that can move Chandler Smith into the next driver in the pipeline to go into that number 42 car potentially. But you think about how young Toyota's lineup is going to be going into the future. Toyota has a really good development pipeline. They've got a lot of great talent going into there, including Chandler Smith. But you've also got Corey Heim, Jane Avedison. But a lot of his drivers are not ready at the moment to make the jump up. And Chandler Smith's the next driver in that pipeline who could be ready to go. But you think about the young tooth that's currently in the Toyota pipeline. Bubba Wallace is there. You got Eric Jones returning to the Toyota stable. John Hunter Nemechek, Ty Gibbs, Christopher Bell. All those guys are around the age of 30 or under the age of 30 years old. So Toyota's in a really good position long term. And I think that for Chandler Smith heading back to Toyota next year, I think he is overall going to have a pretty solid season. Now, like I said, he needs to have a pretty good year if he wants to go full-time Cup racing potentially in 2025. But you do have to remember that Chandler Smith is only 21 years old. He's the same age as Ty Gibbs, and Ty Gibbs has been a rookie in the Cup Series. He had a pretty good rookie year in the NASCAR Cup Series at this point. But still, I think that this is a pretty good move for Chandler Smith. I think he will be a championship threat and contender. He's going to have to deal with a lot of competition next year. Sam Mayer's really really guns blazing the last 12 weeks, gotten 4 wins the last 12 races. Riley Herbst has really turned up the wick the last few weeks. Cole Custer potentially returning that 0-0 car. There is talk he can move up to the Cup Series and take over the 10 car, though Noah Grayson's in the running for that. You're going to likely have AJ Allmendinger, which we'll get back to that in just a little bit. And we'll talk about Kaulig Racing here in a second. We've got other drivers like Austin Hill returning. The Xfinity Series field is going to be extremely stacked and extremely competitive. Now, while it has not also been officially announced, it's anticipated that Sheldon Creed is going to join Joe Gibbs Racing as well in 2024. Sheldon Creed has had a not as good 2023 as Chandler Smith, and Sheldon Creed is still winless in the NASCAR Xfinity Series at this point, but I do think that Sheldon Creed will probably have a pretty good year in the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024. Sheldon's a pretty good driver. He knows how to get it done by the wheel. I mean, he won a Truck Series championship just 3 years ago. I know Sheldon, I should say, hasn't won a race in Xfinity yet, but I think if he goes to Joe Gibbs Racing, there's going to be no excuses. he's going to be anticipated to drive well. There's also potential Ryan Truex maybe going full-time as well in a third car, but again, I think it all comes down to funding. We know he'll be part-time for sure in the Xfinity Series with Joe Gibbs Racing next year, but I really wish he was getting the full-time right over Sheldon Creed. But the anticipated lineup right now is that it's going to be Chandler Smith and Sheldon Creed driving full-time, and that announcement could be coming as early as tomorrow. Let's move on to Kaulig Racing 2024 announcement. If you looked at the press release, you saw that Kaulig Racing does have their announcement planned for 2024 in the coming weeks. My speculation right now in regards to Kaulig Racing's 2024 lineup, that probably is going to get announced maybe in the next week or so, because remember, last year, if I'm not mistaken, they announced the lineup for their team on the fan day. And that was, I believe, when they announced it last year. And their fan day, if I'm not mistaken, is on October 27th. So they may announce it this week or in the next 2 weeks. Now, who is going to drive in their lineup? Well, speculation is that AJ Allmendinger is going to return to the NASCAR Xfinity Series in 2024. And it is speculated currently at the moment that he'll be taking over the 16 car that Chandler Smith is driving. AJ, while yes, he does want to return to the Cup Series, and trust me, I wish he was still in the 16 Cup car next year. I think he's going to have a lot more fun in the Xfinity Series, though, like I said, he did get the win at the Charlotte Roval just about a week or two ago. I think AJ Allmendinger will have a lot more fun in Xfinity. He won a lot more races in Xfinity, and I think he'll have a much better time. A lot of the reason, though, comes down to sponsorship and funding, and many are speculating that Ty Dillon is going to take over that 16 car for Kaulig Racing in the Cup Series in 2024. Ty Dillon has sponsorship funding. Trust me, I'd rather see AJ Allmendinger over Ty Dillon any given day, but the problem is it comes down to sponsorship and funding. So that may bring some questions up the Xfinity Series, because you do have a couple rides that are available. You have Daniel Hemrick, of course, who's moving up to the Cup Series to drive the 31 car full-time, so that 10 car is also available going into next year. I think AJ Allmendinger is going to the 16. The big question is who else is going to be in the running for the Kaulig Racing team. There's a lot of drivers who could be in that running. You have a driver like Noah Gragson, perhaps. I've already mentioned Noah Gragson could be headed to Stu Ross Racing next year in 2024, but I would not be shocked or surprised if Noah Gragson does, in fact, head over to Kaulig Racing in 2024. I think Kaulig Racing would be a much better fit, and Noah, of course, drove for them in the Cup Series last year when he was driving full-time in Xfinity for Junior Motorsports. I think Noah Gragson could have an opportunity to drive for that team as well. There's also potential of a guy like Matt DiBenedetto. Matt DiBenedetto does not have a ride for 2024. I think he would do a pretty good job. He deserves an opportunity in good equipment. I know that things have not gone right with teams he's exited, and it's not gone good there. But Matt DiBenedetto brought Rackley War Racing to the playoffs, so I wounn't be surprised if he gets an opportunity shot to drive for Kaulig Racing. I'll also mention Lane Riggs. Lane Riggs has KHI management working with him, and Lane Riggs is a very, very talented driver. So I think Lane Riggs would not be a bad option or choice to go with next year. And then you have Derek Kraus. Derek Kraus has made quite a few starts with Kaulig Racing this year. I think he's in the running for a full-time entry, and I think he would be a playoff contender. He did win a stage yesterday at Homestead Miami Speedway and did a pretty good job there. And then you look at all the movements happening in the Xfinity Series next year. A lot of drivers are making big moves. The Joe Gibbs Racing lineup is going to change next year. Junior Motorsports, they're bringing Sammy Smith into the play. They're, of course, keeping Sam Mayer, Brandon Jones, and Justin Allgaier. But you got Sammy Smith joining that team. For the other teams, you got AIM Racing. Haley Deegan, she's moving over to AIM Racing in the Xfinity Series for a couple of years. You've got Stuart Haas is keeping Riley Herbst going the next year. You've got Austin Hill sticking with Rich Schultz Racing. You've got rumors of Frankie Muniz, who's likely going to be headed to RSS Racing next year in 2024. There's a lot of movement and a lot of craziness happening with the silly season right now, and there's a lot of chaos going on right now that I think is really exciting and really entertaining. I think the Xfinity Series is going to be more stacked next year in 2024 than it has been this year in 2023. Wouldn't surprise or shock me if we get like 10 to 12 winners, and we got like 20 cars competing for wins. That's going to be really exciting and really fun, and I cannot wait for the Xfinity Series in 2024. And Chandler Smith is likely headed to Joe Gibbs Racing. That announcement is coming here in the coming days. So, that is today's NASCAR news and motorsports news video. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so notify when a video does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support me on Patreon as well. Link in the description below that, and comment your thoughts below on today's video. How well do you think Chandler Smith is likely going to do at Joe Gibbs Racing? What are your thoughts about him leaving Kaulig Racing for 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Later today on the channel, we're going to have a NASCAR Cup Series race view from Homestead Miami Speedway. Then tomorrow on the channel, we're going to have a NASCAR news video. We likely will be getting the news for Chandler Smith. Potentially, we'll have to wait and see. And then there also should potentially be the NASCAR Xfinity Series race picks for Martinsville. Tuesday, we're likely going to be doing a video discussing the Championship 4. Then on Wednesday, we should have another NASCAR news video dropping on the channel. Got a lot of great content dropping the channel soon that I cannot wait for you guys to check out. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.